Of course, the last thing to deal with is going to be the word problem where you'll have to write the equations yourself. So maybe solving with substitution and graphing feels very comfortable now. And at the end of the text, in the chapter and in each section, the expectation is you'll have to do word problems where you'll kind of apply these concepts. Since we know that there's going to have to be two variables in these, let's just set it up with x and then y, and then we'll read through it. We have one metal alloy that's supposed to be 25% copper. And another one is supposed to be 50% copper. How much of each alloy should be used to make 1,000 grams of a metal alloy that is 45% copper? So this means that we need to figure out how much of x and how much of y, and we'll keep it in the order, and the units they give us is grams. So I'll put G of 25% copper. Cu is the element, the way it's written. For y, we'll put grams of the 50% copper. And usually what's the hardest one to figure out is the most obvious equation. And usually that means like you'll be given these problems where there's like adult tickets sold for a concert or for like a school event, and then kid tickets. So if there's like 250 seats, it would be however many adults there are, plus however many kids there are, to fill up all 250 seats. And the reason I bring that up is because if we need to come up with 1,000 grams of something, I'll get rid of that unit because usually we won't use that in the equation. And if I had like 100 grams of that, I would need 900 of the other. If I had 200, I'd need 800. So it's really as simple as just saying x plus y equals 1,000. That often feels more difficult than it really is. But then if I deal with the kind of like, in my opinion, more confusing part, you can figure out that if 25% of x this really gives you like the actual grams of copper. Then I'd have 50% of y, which would give you the actual grams of copper of the other one, would be equal to 45% of the total 1,000 grams of copper. And as we come up with that equation, it's going to be nice to simplify it by putting 0.5y equals 450. And since a lot of people dislike dealing with fractions, let's multiply this by 4, which would give us x plus 2y equals 1,800. Now if you don't see that as a choice early on, that's fine. You don't have to do it that way. By this point, you've gotten a little far away from the two equations, so remember that these are the two that we came up with. And I think that dealing with the first one is nice in terms of x. So I'm going to change the first one from x plus y equals 1,000 into just x equals negative y plus 1,000. And when I go in and I plug that into this equation that we've come up with, I'm going to write negative y plus 1,000 plus 2y equals 1,800. Simplifying gives us y plus 1,000 equals 1,800, and y is going to be 800. which logically means that X would be 200. And so up here I'm going to summarize 200 grams of the 25% copper, and then 800 grams of the 50% copper. And to me this seems realistic because the 50% would have to weight it heavier to get to a 45% solution. The other thing too is we could write this as a coordinate, xy equals 200, 800. We'll put the second word problem in these notes in a separate video.